if you check out what's happening right now, is that they come down, they hit, and they bounce. When you turn on collision by default, the bounce is actually set to 1. We want to set bounce to 0 because leaves don't really bounce. Now when they fall, and they kind of scatter to the side. And leaves don't, if it was windy, maybe they'd probably go in a direction, not every direction. For this one though, we want to take our dampen, and this is going to be like the friction amount of how much movement. If we take this to 1, what's going to happen is this actually, when they fall and hit, they stop. And then the nice part is, they stop and they're there for a little bit, and then they start to shrink and they fade away at the same time. So now all of a sudden you have this really nice set of leaves falling to the ground, real pretty and gentle, and then they stay for a while. So it's got a kind of a nice feel to it, and then you can scale this up or down depending on the size of your tree to fit it, and just the rate of leaves falling as well. Alright, so that's going to give us our collision part on that one. The only other thing, and it's just going to be a kind of a thing that you may not notice till you start to look. Let's see if we can catch one right here. I'm going to pause. Let's see if I can, and here we go. So notice, let's see, well actually those are working. Sometimes, oh there you go. There we go. Alright, do you see right here? You see a leaf, the big leaf is in front, but the small leaf is also showing. In order to make sure you get the right sorting on the depth of that side of it, there's a sort mode down inside the renderer rollout, and you can click on, instead of none, you can do by distance, and notice when I did by distance, that small leaf is now gone. So if you're working with this and you have things that you really do need to have front and back, then be sure you turn your sort mode on and just choose which type of sorting you're doing from it, and then you'll have close leaves sorting properly from the back leaves. Alright, so that is a nice little system for your particles falling down, having some leaves, hitting the ground, staying, and then just kind of going away after some time. Alright, so last thing to finish this off, let's go ahead and relabel this. We'll say leaves falling. And I'm going to make this a prefab by dragging it from the hierarchy over into our leaves falling folder. We now have our leaves falling right here. I'm going to go ahead and zero out the X and zero out the Z, and those will just be for the position. So if you drag it into your hierarchy, it'll start in the center of the screen but above the ground plane a little ways. Alright, and then the last thing for this one, just as a quick check, and we'll just do this on occasion, we'll open up the scene texture, and then we'll just drag this over to our hierarchy and check out some of the leaves falling. And if you notice, when it starts to fall like this, the leaves are a little bit too bright, and this is one of those things that helps you when you see it inside an environment, is that we would want to make sure the leaves are a little bit darker, but also that the leaves are a little bit smaller. Our percentage currently on start size, 0.2, 0.4, could actually be about half of that. We could probably go for a 0.1 and 0.2 and then reduce that from the others. Alright, so you can fix and correct as you see needed for that part of it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one up to this point. We'll leave the leaves falling prefab right here and call this one done, except for a little bit more polish.